They say high school builds character, but what it really builds is a quiet kind of rage in kids who learn real early that the rules don't apply to everybody. Like what happened that morning in room 107. Nobody screamed, nobody stopped it, they all just watched. There was this girl, Imani Riviere, 17. Quiet. Kept her head down. Always sat second row near the window like it helped her breathe. She wasn't the popular type, wasn't trying to be. The only thing she ever showed off were her braids, long, tight, perfectly sectioned. Her mom did them every Sunday with coconut oil and patience, whispering little affirmations between twists like, "This is our crown, baby. You wear it proud." So when it happened, when her braid got ripped clean off her scalp, yeah, that wasn't just hair. That was the last piece of her dignity hitting the floor like it didn't matter. And the worst part, the classroom laughed, like it was a show. The one holding the braid up like a prize was Chase Dorman, your typical golden boy, senior, wide grin, red varsity jacket, son of a board member, and just enough charm to make the teachers call it boys being boys. He'd been whispering with his boys since the bell rang, tossing glances like darts in Imani's direction. She could feel it the way your skin knows when it's about to be touched without permission. She should have left when she felt that. But it was too late. Chase leaned in and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Is this yours? Or did you buy it from Amazon?" Then he reached, fingers in her hair like he owned it, and yanked. That sound, that awful rip, it echoed. And for a second, the whole class went silent. You'd think maybe someone would stand up. Maybe a teacher would react. Maybe decency would kick in, but nope. Miss Jensen blinked from the whiteboard like she just spotted a fly, then cleared her throat and said, "That was inappropriate, Chase Bushbo. But Imani, if your hair can come off, it might be considered a distraction under dress code." That's what she said. A distraction. Imani didn't say anything. She couldn't. Her throat felt like it had been tied shut. She picked up her books with shaking hands. The ripped braid, still sitting on her desk like a murder weapon, no one planned to acknowledge, and walked out, no apology, no help. Just laughter echoing in her ears. She locked herself in a bathroom stall and cried quietly, pressing her forehead against cold metal like it might ground her. All she could think about was her mother. Naomi Riviere, the new mayor of Edgewater, a town that clapped when she got elected, but whispered behind her back every time she spoke truth to power. Naomi was the first black mayor the town had ever seen. First woman, too. Imani hadn't told her mom much about the bullying, never wanted to add stress, never wanted to hear "be strong" when she felt anything but. But something cracked in her that day, sitting there with her scalp burning, braid clutched in her hands like proof of everything she'd been forced to swallow for years. She went home and didn't cry anymore. She laid the braid on her desk like evidence. That night, she took a picture. No filter, no caption, just raw. Then she sent it to her mom with one line. "This is what happened to me today." She didn't expect what came next. The next morning, school looked the same rust on the lockers, same gum under the desks, same indifferent air, but for Imani, something had shifted. Because at exactly 12:04 p.m., the door to room 107 flew open with a slam that made the walls breathe. And there she was, Mayor Naomi Riviere, in a sharp navy suit and heels that echoed like a verdict. Miss Jensen turned pale. "Mayor Riviere, I didn't know." Naomi didn't blink. "Sit." There was something about her tone, calm but sharp, that made the entire class freeze. Then she turned to Chase. "You," she said, pointing like she was drawing a line through his soul. "Stand up." Chase stood, trying to smirk, but you could see the twitch in his jaw. She walked straight up to him, not yelling, not scolding, just unshakably furious. "You think you're funny," Naomi said, voice low. "You think it's a joke to humiliate someone because of how they look, to rip something off their body, and wave it like a trophy." She pulled a file from her bag, thick, dropped it on Miss Jensen's desk. Papers fanned out formal complaints, student testimonies, screenshots of texts, incidents buried for years. "This isn't the first time," she said, locking eyes with the teacher. "And you knew." The room was dead quiet. Then came the principal, Mr. Hanley, rushing in like he'd just been told the governor walked in with a baseball bat. "We could have scheduled a meeting." "I'm not here for a meeting," Naomi snapped. "I'm here for justice. Your student assaulted my daughter. Your staff ignored it. Your policies allowed it. And I'm pressing charges. For assault. For enabling harassment. For racial discrimination." She turned to Imani, who was frozen, eyes wide, lips trembling, and said, quietly, "You don't have to stay silent anymore." Chase tried to speak, but Mr. Hanley cut him off, voice barely a whisper. "Chase Dorman, you're expelled, effective immediately." Boom. Just like that. A golden boy got tossed. But that wasn't even the best part. Because then Imani stepped forward. She didn't plan to speak, but something in her finally came unglued. She looked around that room, at all the faces that watched her suffer, at the classmates who giggled when her crown got torn off, and said, "I never asked to be different, but you all made sure I never forgot I was." Her voice didn't shake, not this time. "You laughed when I walked past. You whispered when I spoke. And yesterday, he ripped my hair out and you watched." Some kids looked down. Some shifted. A few girls blinked hard like they suddenly had something in their eye. She kept going. "But I'm done being ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my hair, or my skin, or my mother, or myself." Then she looked at Miss Jensen, dead in the eye, and said, "Silence is a choice, and so is cowardice." The bell hadn't rung, but class was over. Imani walked out with her mom hand in hand, head held high, Braid still in her backpack like a war medal. The halls felt different. Like something had finally snapped that needed to snap. And even though she knew the whispers would come, the stares would linger for once. She didn't care. Because now she knew truth burns, but it also cleanses. She wasn't broken. She was free. And Chase. Let's just say the honor student scholarship suddenly had a vacancy. But here's the twist. A week later, a girl from another class, Camilla, came up to Imani during lunch. Didn't say much, just handed her a note. Inside were 5 words. "You saved more than yourself." Yeah, that happened. And now it's your turn to talk. Do you think the school did enough? Was expulsion justice? Or just a start? What would you have done if you were there that day? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about silence, justice, and when enough is finally enough. And if this story moved you, hit subscribe. Because sometimes, all it takes is one voice to break the silence.